The Allegheny Journal has found a 35-year veteran of Boys Home. In fact, when you mention the word Boys Home, you think of its executive director, Donnie Wheatley. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And you are being honored after 35 years of service to this organization. So, and we know a special event is coming up to celebrate this, but so 35 years is a long time to have a commitment to anything, and Boys Home has been pretty much your life. So, yeah. How does it feel?
Almost over.
Almost over.
All I got to do is get stuck to a wall and I can go back to living my life.
Well, the truth is probably it's going to be 50 or 55 years, isn't it?
Who knows?
And in the past couple of years, though, you would think, okay, you're a mature executive director and almost all the projects will have been finished. But in fact, you've got an upgraded gym, campus improvements all over the place. Anything else going on we should know about?
Well, we still have some work here in the gymnasium that we need to do, and we've got work in our dining hall. And there are some of our buildings that need some serious work done on them. But we are almost finished with what we put in place for our campaign called the Journey Continues. And that has been, that's been what I've been shooting for, the completion of that stuff that kind of ties up in the Journey Continues. I don't want to leave anything undone, you know.
Well, don't worry, we'll make sure that doesn't happen.
And I'm kind of cautious about, you know, what we start with now and how long it'll be before we finish up whatever else we may want to start. So it's kind of the right kind of time to think about both the long-term piece for Boys Home, but also for getting myself ready to where I won't feel bad about not having completed stuff. So.
And are there bigger projects that are not public that are ongoing? Have you kind of hinted here?
There are visions about things like how many boys do we really think we should be able to handle. There are things like how do we house those kids? What other support we might need to make things happen. You know, we have not finished our trades building, as an example. And we don't have our trades program fully put together. And that's part of the finished piece. That's part of the piece that's got something there that needs to be finished. So those things are in the immediate future. But things like the population, things like, you know, whether or not what we are doing is still valuable to the young people coming here. And what we may have to do to continue to serve them. That's always on our mind. And they're, you know, as far as the board goes, you know, they need to start thinking about the next director, and they need to start thinking about some other things that they have in mind for the future of Boys Home. And so out of that will come, hopefully, a plan that looks at, you know, what Boys Home will probably look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
Okay.
You know, we got all kinds of dreams we'd like to do. We've been very fortunate to have a number of volunteers here. And I could probably recruit a dozen volunteers at a time to come help us do what we do if I had quarters for them. That's an example of what might be in the future for Boys Home.
How much of a challenge has this COVID-19 crisis caused? I mean, I'm sure it's bothered almost all institutions, but you've got a concentration of 40 or 50 young men, so I guess that's been an additional kind of burden or concern.
It was in the beginning because we really didn't know how the young men would really react to those things that we were going to have to put in place to keep them safe and to keep staff safe. And so we were a little bit concerned that what we thought was needed to be done might put them in a position to where, you know, they get frustrated and throw their hands up, and they haven't. And our staff has been unbelievably supportive. They want to do what we're here to do for the young men. And so, you know, they're willing to do a lot of extra stuff and pay attention to their own health at the same, so that they don't put themselves in a position of jeopardizing the health of the kids. And so, you know, we've been now 7 months worth of basically isolation, and that's pretty tough on a teenager. But we've worked to try to be sure that they don't, get too burdened by it. We do extra stuff, we just don't go do like we used to. A good example of that is by this time last year, we had accumulated about 500 hours worth of community service work. And you can, it's 1/10 of that now, because we haven't been able to get out in the community and do the things that we really wanted to do without exposing the kids and this community to the risk. And so we haven't done it.
Well, one final thing. This is going to be a joyous occasion. It should be hilarious, actually. But it's quite an honor, is it not, to have an event called 2 Days of Giving, where you have a goal of $30,000 or $35,000, and it being announced only like a week in advance, and you're seeing phone calls, letters, checks come in the mail, and that's quite an honor for almost anybody to see that kind of support.
Yes.
Coming from so many directions.
Definitely. You know, they had to kind of coerce me into this, but it's given me an opportunity to really connect up with people going all the way back to my Bob Rose, my football high school coach.
And you are a VMI grad.
Yes. This guy, though, was Allegheny County High School, the first year. And he and his wife was my 8th grade math teacher. So I got a chance to connect up with them. Boys have called in, and some of my VMI buddies have called in. So there's been a real mix of people that called in that have made this a fun event, and one that's been uplifting in that it's shown how widespread the support for what we do actually is. You know, I started out trying to challenge the development group to $3.5 million. You know, 35. Okay, we'll go for 100,000 per year. You know, and then I said, okay, I'll give you a break. We'll just do 350,000. Well, they ended up with 35, and they have been fantastic. You know, they've really made it a fun event. They've got the news out. It's really been something. This episode that's going to take place after we finish talking is going to be the third attempt to try to do something, and it has been fun, and it is something that is meaningful in that so many folks who support Boys Home have been able to connect up with an event that is meaningful.
Thanks very much for taking the time to speak with us, Donnie.
No problem. It delayed my stick it to me. So